بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على طه الأمين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. In the name of God, the merciful, the beneficent, all prayer and praise is due to the Prophet Muhammad and his holy household. Point 7 reads as follows. If a mujtahid which you follow dies, if he was more knowledgeable than all the living ones, you must remain mimicking that mujtahid, without difference between the rulings, the provisions that you followed during his life, or what you have learned during his life. And if the living jurist becomes over time more knowledgeable than the deceased mujtahid, then you must follow the living mujtahid. This is since taqlid revolves around the most knowledgeable. So there's a couple of points here. Let's break them down. First, I'm following a mujtahid, and the mujtahid passed away. What is my job at this point? According to Ayatollah Sistani, it says that if the mujtahid you're following is the most knowledgeable, so if he's more knowledgeable than all the living ones, then you must remain following that mujtahid. What about the provisions that I did not learn during his lifetime, or that I have not practiced during his lifetime, such as Hajj, for example? What if I never had the opportunity to go to Hajj during my mujtahid's lifetime and I never learned those provisions? The Ayatollah here says that that is irrelevant. So long as you're following him during his lifetime, you remain following him. So if you go for Hajj after his passing, then you would use his provisions for Hajj. The second point is, if he becomes more knowledgeable or if the living one becomes more knowledgeable throughout time, so we said that the deceased one is more knowledgeable. However, if throughout time, after the deceased one has passed, if the one that's living becomes more knowledgeable throughout time than the deceased one, then now you must follow the more knowledgeable mujtahid. Why? Because ijtihad, or because mimicking, taqlid, follows the most knowledgeable individual. Why is that? Because we said in the beginning, if you remember, my brothers and sisters, we said that it is your duty, it is my duty as an individual, as a Muslim, to attain certainty of my actions. And one cannot attain certainty without knowing that the one that they follow is the most knowledgeable. Point number 8. It is not allowed to mimic a deceased mujtahid regardless of his level of knowledge. Now this here refers to beginning to follow someone. So if I have become of age today, or my brother became of age today, and he wants to start following, and he has to start mimicking a mujtahid, can he choose someone that passed 5 days ago? Absolutely not. In fact, he can't choose someone that passed an hour before he became mukallaf. Therefore, it is not allowed for you as an individual to begin mimicking a mujtahid who is deceased. You must mimic a mujtahid that is living. Point number 9. If the most knowledgeable has no ruling regarding an issue, or the individual, the mukallaf such as myself, is unable to get to the ruling while or during the time of burden. So when I'm burdened with this issue, I don't have the capability to get to the ruling of the mujtahid. It is permissible for the individual in this case to refer to another mujtahid. However, he must take care that to follow the most knowledgeable after the most knowledgeable. So what is this saying to us? This says that if the mujtahid I follow has no ruling regarding a specific issue, or he might have a ruling, but at the moment I was burdened with this ruling or with this issue, I could not get to the ruling. But I have at hand the ruling of another mujtahid or the other mujtahideen. What do I do in this point? Is I refer to another mujtahid. However, I must take care to follow the most knowledgeable after the most knowledgeable. Why? Again, because we said mimicking follows the most knowledgeable, revolves around the most knowledgeable. Point number 10, the points where the ruling is followed in this book, where the ruling is followed by an obligatory precaution or a necessary precaution, is a source where the individual is able to refer to another mujtahid, taking care again to follow the most knowledgeable after the most knowledgeable. So when we read through, we will notice that there are certain precautions given, such as obligatory precaution, necessary precaution. These precautions are given. We're going to be given 3 examples of how they are used, and what they mean is that you have the opportunity of referring to another mujtahid for the ruling. Such as, example number 1, if it is clearly declared, such as in the case of zakah, zakah is confirmed in the money of trade as an obligatory precaution. As an obligatory precaution, you must give zakah for the money of trade. Now here, you can take this ruling, that's option number 1. Option number 2 is you can refer to another mujtahid, to the next in line of knowledge, and use that ruling if it differs. Number 2, the second example. If the ruling is restricted with the word as a precaution. For example, he who leaves for a trip after sundown, or after the sun has left the noon peak, must, as a precaution, complete their fast. So if you started traveling after noon hour, so after the sun has left the noon peak, as a precaution, must complete their fasting. Again, if you're unhappy with this, you can refer to another mujtahid according to the precaution given. Number 3, the third example, if the precaution is mentioned without ruling, such as if the saliva of a dog falls into a plate, as a precaution the plate should be wiped with dirt first, then washed 3 times with water. These are 3 methods mentioned declaring how precaution is used, whether obligatory or necessary, and that the individual has a right to refer to another mujtahid. That will be all for our episode today. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi tayyibin at-tahirin.